Hey, how's it going? Today's 4th of December, Wednesday, and we're gonna be taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find, if there are any. We're gonna be taking a look at four different articles, something that will be published today or yesterday, right? That would be a huge boost for high streets as councils get new powers. Legal changes empower councils to auction off leases for long-term empty lots. Okay, let's try to understand it. That the high streets are set to be revitalized as the government enhances council's new powers to tackle surge of empty shops. Perhaps prices and or would that be 20% of properties are being vacant? Perhaps this percentage might be even higher depending on the council, right? Let's say 40% of some of the councils might have a lot of might as well perhaps it might be within the interest of councils and of people living there to have process in place to get more people into the shops working, right? From yesterday, Monday, 2nd of December, local authorities will be able to auction off leases for commercial properties that have been empty for a long period. It's helping bring business back to the high streets and drive growth across the country. I believe there might be even in parliamentary hearing about board thing out the windows, all those kind of things. So perhaps it's just a look, right? I know there would be so many businesses that might be able to operate in those stores, right? High street rental auction will create a high or right to rent for business and all community groups, giving them access to city, town, and village center sites. The change will stop disengaged landlords sitting on empty lots for more than 365 days in a 24-month period before councils can auction 1 to 5 year lease. Okay, with growth the key mission for the government, its commitment over 1 million in funding to support the auction process, which will create jobs for local people and will boost trade by bringing local business back to heart of our communities. As well as there might be some statements, and let's keep those. The government has announced today that four local authorities will lead the way as enthusiastic early adopters of the new high street powers. Let's keep names. We'll set example for the local authorities across England and or Bournemouth, Christchurch and or Paul Council will join the early adopters of program in an advisory role as critical friends. Sure, sure. Critical. There will be a lot of friends, I guess. Additional local authorities have been invited to join the program at a later stage, right? So potentially within the progression, right? Yeah, originally introduced by Level Up and Regeneration Act 2023, so some time ago. The high street rental auction powers came into force the day after legislation was laid in November. Before putting property to rental auction, a local authority must first seek resolve the vacancy of engaging with the landlord. High street rental auction from the part of the government's wider commitment to support high street and all small businesses as part of work drive the economic growth and all parts of the country, break down barriers to opportunity and fix foundations of the economy. The changes come ahead of a small business Saturday this week, major event in commercial calendar with the government is proud to support. Earlier today, Business Secretary, let's give name, kick off a week of activity ahead of small business Saturday by visiting several small businesses in and around. Okay, that's perhaps there might be a lot of examples of some of the business and overall performance. Let's perhaps small business backbone of the economy. Exactly, I believe it's about 50%, but it depends. Making up 99% of the case companies and all employing more than 60% of the workforce. Oh, okay, I thought it's 50, but anyway, they then they thrive and the country thrives. That's why government has already announced a number of the other changes to back small business, including reducing small business multiplier, producing 90% of properties from inflationary increase of business rate liabilities, announcing the intention to introduce permanently lower business tax rates for retail, hospitality, leisure profits. Sure. Providing access to finance, committing 250 million in 2025-26 for British Business Bank on small business loans programs. Okay, I'm not necessarily supporting this initiative, right? Then you need to borrow money. Perhaps, do you really have, depending on personal circumstances, but do you really have such a good business model, right? Just the other day, there was a CEO who was blocked by shareholders, right, and borrowing and lending money, all these kind of things involved then scaling business model, right? When people are scaling their business model with someone else's money, and later, as it was agreed to pay up this individual this amount of money, it was blocked by court. So this is a potentially when you're working with someone else's money, is it your own money or is it not your own money? Anyway, that's debatable. But anyway, increasing unemployment allowance from 5,000 to 10.5 thousand and or removing the 100,000 threshold, expanding this to eligible employers, right? Anyway, so there's a lot of things happening in the world, right? That's what. Let's take a look at next article. I thought it might be important taking a look at two different ways of potentially acquiring a business, right? So that with the physical location, stores, something that we were taking a look at, and perhaps ways of having a store as well as having online presence and selling on a website potentially, right? So I thought it might be important to take a look at another article, something that we published today. No tax change for online sellers, right? So many businesses might be interested in having both options, right? There are no tax change obligations for people selling services or unwanted items online as the platform starts sharing selling data with HMRC from January 2025. Online platforms to start sharing some user sales and all personal data with HMRCs from, okay, so that's data sharing, which is kind of interesting, I guess. HMRC confirms there are no changes to tax rules of people selling their unwanted possessions online. Sure. But it's very tricky. So be careful. Just since this is what's written, I'm reading what's written. That's I'm not your. I guess it's taxes, right? So be careful with taxes all the time. Consult with a professional when it comes to taxes. So that's what information I'm reading. I guess guidance for online sellers can be found. I guess do all your own research when it comes to paying taxes, right? But the people selling unwanted items online can continue to do so with confidence and or without any new tax obligations. HM Revenues and Customs has confirmed, right? But again, who would be so you have an item. What is defined by unwanted? What does it mean unwanted item, right? Because someone wants this item, right? That's the reason why they're buying it. So I don't know. I'm just joking around. The reminder comes online platforms start sharing sales data with HMRCs from January 2025. The new process that then announced last year generated inaccurate claims that new tax was being introduced. Why else? Why else they would be interested in this kind of information other than perhaps not that fast, but all the time? They just HMRC just want to take a look at it, you know, right? Just want to take a look at it and do nothing. Just take a look at it and that's it. But whether selling last year's festive jumper, getting some more money back from a child's outgoing baby clothes, no quietly offloading unwanted Christmas presents or gee, absolutely nothing has changed for online sellers. I don't know. So I rather stop here, and for people who are pursuing and or selling something online, perhaps it's worth considering. And it's as of now, what I can read, that nothing has changed, right? But let's stop here. Let's take a look at next article. Let's take a look at next article. That would be UKEF partner with business groups to support female entrepreneurs. A new partnership with Derbyshire-based business help more women-owned business access finance support. I don't know. It might be marketing. So it's I guess uh, why it wouldn't be important to support men and women. I don't understand this part. Perhaps someone can explain why it wouldn't be better to support man and woman to support people. If you would ask me, makes no sense. As well as it would be financing, so borrowing money. So I guess for people who are interested, they can do whatever they want with their time, right? Let's take a look at next article. Let's take a look at last article that the first train services to return to public ownership revealed. Service across England will return to public control, transforming our railways into a more reliable, affordable, and accessible system. This is an announcement. We're gonna be taking a look at this announcement, and not necessarily that we would agree or disagree. We're just taking a look at this announcement, right? That will be South Western Railway train services to be first to come under public control after a landmark rail bill reveal royal assets. That would be CTC will follow suit with its service expanded to transition to July 2025 before Great Congress in autumn 2025. Move delivers on the manifesto commitment to bring railway under public ownership and now put passengers back at the heart of its service after 30 years of privatization, right? Overall prices, so it's skyrocketing prices, right? So let's take a look at this article. Plans to overhaul the rail network and now put passengers first has been announced today, 4th of December, that's today's date. The Transport Secretary reveals South Western Railway's service will be the first to transfer into public ownership next year. The move comes just days after the government's first major piece of legislation by passenger railway services received royal asset, paving the way of major shake-up of Britain's railways. Okay, this is what they're saying. I don't know. Again, if it's actually what's gonna happen, who knows, right? What this article is saying. Transition to a public owned railway will improve reliability and support for government's number of one priority of boosting economic growth by encouraging more people to use railway. I guess this is what we should be. We should be encouraging, but the entire system might be overpriced. But anyway, it will also clamp down the unacceptable level of delays, cancellations, and always seen under decades of failing franchise contracts, and will save up 150 million a year in fees alone by ensuring every penny is spent on services rather than private shareholders. I guess this is where the problems would normally start with all the prices, right? All while coming into no additional cost for a taxpayer. Today's announcement will serve as services across the wider areas of southern England and all East England comes back into public control by autumn 2025, then deliver on manifesto commitment to bring contracts with existing operators into public ownership as they expire without costing taxpayers a penny in compensation. Again, they keep repeating that it's something with money. They keep repeating in this article that money. But many people might think differently, and perhaps what we are focusing is public opinion, right? This government is fixing the foundation of deliberate change with the reform while investing in to deliver a growth and rebuild Britain by bringing train operating companies into public ownership. The government will turn the page on the decades of delays, fragmentation, and failure. I don't understand the entire sector that well. I don't understand it. If any people have purchased any of those tickets and how expensive the tickets are, perhaps there's a reason why it's so expensive, right? Anyway, let's progress. The Transport Secretary has also announced today announcing that public rent services will be managed by DFT Operator Limited, previously known as DFT Operator of Last Resort Holdings Limited. Sure. I don't know. I'm not interested in promoting any of this business line, but perhaps this information is very important. Those functions will eventually be integrated into Great British Railways. The DFT operator will continue to focus on transforming Britain's railways into a more reliable, affordable, and accessible system. Do you understand a little bit about Europe and what Europe is doing? Where they looking to expand its rail links. So a lot of work has been done in Europe. Perhaps there might be some actions that could be done within the UK as well. Well, today's announcement mark a major change. The government first priorities ensure transport process is thorough and will deliver the best outcomes for passengers. Allowing several months of lead into each transfer will ensure that will be no adverse impact on passengers during a time who will still be able to purchase their tickets as before, with the railway staff assisting as usual. The department expects the transfer of all passenger service operators under contract with the Department for Transport to complete over the next 3 years, right? Well, perhaps there's a lot of investments and improvements that could be done, right? Under government's broader plans to reform the railways, GBR will bring track and train together under the direction directing mind, with the relentless focus on improving services for passengers and customers until legislation for this is in place. Shadow GBR will make progress to ensure the sector works together and more better under a public owned railway. So many points are debatable, but anyway, in in the new year, the government will be setting out plans for new shadow. GBR will be delivering on its initial priorities, including how it will be moving the network towards greater financial sustainability and not delivering for passengers. Meanwhile, the government has already made major strides towards improving performance and our services for passengers. Since July 2024, the department has brought an end to long-running national and local industrial disputes. I know there might be companies and all perhaps legal, all these kind of things. Let's keep that has dropped to net zero, all these kind of things. Right? The department is also working on plans with operators and on network rail. Okay, there's the businesses. Let's keep those names. I guess. Just, I am not necessarily. I'm not involved. I'm not involved in any way. Rail services might be important, as well as perhaps there might be some solutions when it comes to offering services, but it's very unlikely that there is constantly there is a process of businesses to engage with these partners, including rail services, but not only rail services, for example, and they would not necessarily would take on any new business unless they do know those businesses. So it's a very complex subject there. Where I could or anybody could express a lot of feedback or give a lot of feedback, right? Other than that, I perhaps have a lot of opinions, right? Immediate improvements have also been delivered to Eastern Station throughout the 5-point plan to reduce overcrowding and or deliver a better experience for passengers. This has included a new review into passenger information, including the shutdown overhead and all advertising boards and no trial of early boarding or no service. That's what I mean. There's more updates that come later this year. That's what I mean. But there might be some opportunities when it comes to business opportunities. In the last point, this is something that I was myself expanding on. But to get these contracts is very complex. That's what I mean. What I mean, it's very complex subject there. Good luck. Okay, to get a contract. Good luck with that. Let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.